We'll go look. What do you got?
Does Chris joke about how many rings he has now? He's got, what, 4 of them?
Chris Vogt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, we haven't talked about it, but like I mentioned the other day in the press conference, it's he's a winner. I mean, he's been on, obviously understands what it's about. He's been huge for us, not just literally, but you know, just the maturity in the locker room, understanding what success is about, and obviously what he's done on the court for us too. I mean, we're not in this position without his contributions.
Did your players, or did you have to talk to the players about the importance of not wanting to share the title and what's at stake Sunday?
I didn't have to say much about it. No, they were talking about that before Tuesday, so they understand. And we talked about some of those things today. Just years, and I gave them examples of different teams that came into different. Joe talked about the 2008 team, I think, that he was on, and you know, just making sure we keep focused. There's a lot of distractions that can pull you in different ways, not only for Sunday, but going forward, and just making sure we're about the right things. And this group has done a really good job of staying in the moment, and I think they've really enjoyed it. I think that helps with that. But they've continued to work every day, and as long as we keep that approach and keep getting better, then you know we'll hopefully keep going in the right direction.
Brad's last home game on Sunday, you know, people ask you about him years from now. How do you want him to be remembered, and what kind of things do you talk about with his legacy here?
I think obviously his leadership has been evident for me since day one. Just how he, you know, had a voice in the locker room early in his career, how he battled through injuries, how he's been highly critiqued, to put it mildly, and you know he's continued to stay the course. You know, he hasn't changed who he is, and what he's about and what's important to him. So I think that's as much as he's done as a player, and obviously with the 3-point record, and he's one of 3 guys that have won 2 Big Ten championships in program history. I think with Penny and Devin, that he's stayed true to who he is off the court in terms of what he's about, what's important to him. And that's been really neat to see, because sometimes success can change people, and he hasn't changed in terms of what he views as important in life, and I think that's the biggest thing. And he's been great for our young guys too. I mean, he's been a great role model.
Maybe it's a question for another time, but given that he wants to be a coach, have there been any conversations between you and him about keeping him around here if possible?
You know, we talked to him. He's going to finish his master's this year, so which is accelerated. I don't know what he wants to do in terms of where he wants to go. Sometimes, you know, we've talked about it a lot. I actually tried to talk him out of it when we first started. I said, "You sure you don't want to use that business degree?" And but no, he's pretty dedicated and pretty set on that's what he wants to do. And hey, you got to do what you're passionate about. So you know, we'll visit that when the time comes. But he also may want to go see something else too. You know, and I think that's. But if it works for him to hang around here, great. But you know, who knows? He's getting married, retire, has different plans. I don't know. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I'll help him any way I can.
What did y'all see in Chucky? Either when you were recruiting him or the summer that made y'all think he was ready for the kind of responsibility he's had all season long?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was talented, and I remember sitting in the gym watching a game against Millard North during his junior year, because we were at Nebraska and we went up as a staff the night before from Lincoln, Omaha. And, you know, just how he made plays in that game. You could tell just the vision that he had and the feel for the game. And then this summer, really, I think just obviously the talent level, but the moxie and the maturity, and how he, again, when you get to work with him every day, you get a better insight into how talented he is versus seeing him in a high school game or watching him in AAU. When you really get to be with him in drills and instruct him in some things, how fast he picks things up, you know, his feel for the game. I knew in, you know, July. In fact, I told him in July, I said, "Are you ready for this?" And because I said, "I'm going to hand you the keys. You keep going, doing what you're doing." And that's probably the first time in a long time I've made up my mind about who I felt should be starting that early, just because of what I saw every day and how important that position is for us.
Greg, it's very evident that Chris Boat and Brad Davison have a really good friendship. What was it like, and how have you seen that friendship just kind of blossom over the short time that they've had together?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is pretty soft-spoken, and you don't see, but he's he's a character. You know, when you get him alone or in a private space, he's pretty comical. So I think that, and just the things that Chris had been through, injury, the age, similarities to Brad, just what they've had experienced in college. Those two hit it off during the recruiting process, and even though I think even at that point we could not bring him on a visit, it was all Zoom calls and phone calls. So just they connected pretty instantly. Which Brad, I mean, we turn him loose whenever we can with recruits because he's so good with them, and obviously he's a recognizable face for anybody nationally. So, but I think just that the commonalities that they found, and then they're roommates now. But Brad has told me many times, the big guy's pretty funny. And it's been neat. Like I said before, I mean, Chris, we're not in that position. We don't win this league without Chris Boat, and there's numerous other contributions. But you can look at his stat line and say, well, it must have been minimal. It's been monumental what he's helped us with, and so I think that's been a neat relationship to blossom. It seems like Chris has been here 4 or 5 years. It's just how well he has fit in.
Greg, it's pretty well documented that his demeanor is a little different than most.
Mm-hmm.
What's that been like for you as a coach over the years, just to kind of crack that, or I don't know, how do you approach that?
Well, it took me a little bit last year to figure out, to realize he was listening and paying attention, but I couldn't get an emotional reaction. Sometimes you can get guys to get mad at you, and I was trying to get him mad at me and couldn't do it. Just he's very, you want to play poker with him, not against him. And I've been around, star players before that, have stayed very even keeled. I think Frank did that really well. Frank kept things in perspective, and the thing with Johnny is I've always said his number one skill is his competitiveness and just how he wants to be successful or win at every time he steps on the court. So I think now that I obviously understand, I don't even worry about it. I know he listens, and we talk, and he may not say much, but I know at least he's hearing me out, so to speak. So every personality is different. I mean, you have to approach all of them differently. Just like you talk to your own kids, I can't talk to our oldest as I can to our youngest. It's all different based on the place they're at. So Johnny's very much in that. I talk different to Johnny than I do to Jordan. Jordan's a little more outgoing and talkative. So I think it's just something you learn over time.
Can you share any? Go ahead.
You mentioned the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty you saw him get while you were recruiting him.
Right.
While you're coaching him, when did you first see that competitiveness you're talking about? When did it first come up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what I realized was when he didn't respond or didn't react to a year ago, maybe me, hey, John, getting after him a little bit, he just kind of kept going. But you could tell he was, the fire was burning, so to speak, and just how he would respond with his play. I didn't get a verbal reaction or an emotional reaction. I got a play reaction. He went and, got something done. And, now he's obviously much more confident. Not that he lacked confidence, but it's grown immensely, and just feels like, and the players at that level have that. They feel when they're on the floor, there's nobody better than them on the floor. And you have to have that mindset if you're going to, play at the level he's played at and have the success he's had. You have to have almost an invincible mindset that I can't be beat. I'm only going to, I'll beat myself, but I won't get beat by somebody else.
I was just going to ask, can you share what tactics you might have used to try to get a rise out of him?
Yeah, hey, what's, a little verbal,
Okay.
raise my voice a little bit. Hey, you got to jump stop better, or you've got to, whatever, make a ball fake there, or hey, you can't take that shot. I don't say that much this year. It's pretty much he's pretty much got free reign for the most part. Even the bank shot the other night, I know he was trying to get fouled. That's why he double clutched it.
He did
But
get fouled though.
yeah, I mean it's.
He said, I mean, he was demonstrating right away.
Did
that
he?
got it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yes.
So, but I think that's, you learn that through who responds to that and who doesn't. And thinking back through the guys we've had here, watching, Bo over the years, there was guys you can't, you just got to learn the room, so to speak. And every individual's a little different.
You mentioned Brad staying the course. Big picture question: do you think that what this team has done this year, coming off last year, is an example of that? Just continuing to do with the things you think are necessary to win.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I mentioned that about Chris in terms
Yeah.
of his contributions.
Mhm.
We're not here without Brad.
Okay.
Obviously, and we're not here without Johnny.
I
We're
just
not
meant
here
the whole team. Because
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a great job of leading from the back. And what I mean by that is he hasn't had to be the dominant voice
Yeah.
all the time. In years past, maybe he had to be because we needed a dominant voice. This group doesn't need that type, not all the time.
Mhm.
I mean, and he's picked his spots.
Mhm.
There's been times when he really, in the huddle, will be very animated and go at guys and challenge guys. I always said the best coach teams are player coach teams. This group, for as young as they are, have become a player coach team really quick. And he's obviously a big part of it. But yeah, there's no doubt that his presence, obviously how he's played, but his understanding, and we talked about that last spring when he was making the decision to come back, just how he could lead in a little different way and allow some of the younger guys to have a bigger piece of the leadership pie, so to speak,
Mhm.
would be the best way to put it.
does
Brad.
that surprise you that this is a player coach team? Because you said the same thing in the spring of 20, but that was an older team.
Yeah, this group, I wouldn't have thought this group to get to it that quickly.
Okay.
But I think the maturity of, obviously, Brad, Chris have helped. How Tyler has grown, and the maturity of Chucky has helped. It's not, freshmen sometimes can get a little squirrely, a little goofy.
Mhm.
He's a fun-loving kid. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes time to perform and work, he's very businesslike and very mature.
Brad is a
I'd like to
freshman.
get Chris and Brad up here too, so we can do a couple more questions.
Brad is a freshman, always said he wanted to leave this program in a better spot than he found it. Obviously, with 2 Big Ten titles, you could say he's done that. But what in other ways do you think he will have a lasting effect on your culture to kind of embody that?
Hopefully the younger guys have listened and watched. That'll be the best thing in terms of, you mentioned the culture. Because there were times when the culture had to be redirected or re-emphasized. In fact, we have a shirt, actually, I think after the 2017-18. Was that when we didn't make the tournament?
Yeah.
And he designed the shirt, and on the shirt was "For the Culture" on it. And he understands, again, what this place has been about and how important we is. We is more important than me. Us is more important than I. And just he embodies that and embraces that. So hopefully the younger guys, I think they have, he's done all he can do to put that in place and help perpetuate that. And it's definitely, like I said, in an outstanding spot right now.
What has Carter meant to this program? You got to give Carter
Boogie?
some love. Yeah.
Oh, Boogie, yeah, Boogie's been, he's been awesome from a standpoint of when you're in that position and you're not getting as much media attention, for example. Did you get him in front of the
We got him.
Good. All right. Attention, accolades, those type of things. Those guys in the walk-on positions put in just as much work, and they have to always understand and embrace that role. Because if you're coming with a selfish mindset that you think it's going to be about you, and then all of a sudden the world gets tipped upside down on you, and you don't handle it well, that can really ruin your locker room. And Carter's done a really good job of helping lead, and obviously the huddles and the dancing and they say he's the funniest guy on the team, but just understanding and embracing that role. And the guys that we've had in that position over the years have been terrific with that, and we address it intentionally when people are looking at coming into those roles, because if they are thinking it's going to be something different, or it's going to be more about them, or they're not going to get as many interviews or as the minutes they maybe had in high school, and they don't handle it right, it can adversely affect your locker room.
Greg, the past 5 NCAA championship teams have shot 35% or higher from three-point range. You guys are currently at 31.6. I know you guys don't like to get hung up on the numbers of everything, but do you think that's an area that you still could improve a little bit heading into the postseason and Sunday?
So we got to increase by 3.4%.
Well, that's 35 or higher. The 35 is the low end. Yeah.
Okay.
Get hot.
Who had 35?
Who won in 2018? That was the lower
Villanova.
number.
Villanova win it? Yeah, because we beat them in 17 in between there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're two.
Michigan,
two
Villanova.
Sandwich debrief.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the team that won in 2018, Villanova.
Villanova? Okay. How about before the last 5 years?
It was anywhere from 30 to.
What did we shoot in 2015?
37? I don't know. Should know that. How do you
Who's
not
the
know
last
that?
team that shot under 35?
It
And
was
won
in it was in 2013 and they shot 31.6 or 31.23.
Who's that?
Louisville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Doesn't even count anymore.
I'm not
They
getting a
took the banner
tattoo
down.
like Bettino did.
They took
Yeah.
the banner down, didn't they? It
Yeah,
doesn't
they
even
did.
count.
Hopefully we could get to a point where we could prove it wrong, but hopefully shoot 35% or higher on Sunday. That'll be the first task. So this group, I don't mean to sidestep your question, Abby, but I've never had one that in depth before to think about that. This group has been able to be successful without maybe being on fire consistently from three or being at a certain number. And they've done it in a variety of ways. Defensively, I think taking care of the ball. We've talked about it, but this group has, to only turn over 6 times the other night, and only once in the second half. And we talk about it, we emphasize it, but I've had other groups where I've really had to harp on it and really have to, and we've had a 13 here or there, an 11, but this group understands that, the rebounding component of it, I think we've gotten better at. We're better at getting to the free throw line than maybe the last few years, and part of that's personnel driven. It's not somebody doing things differently, it's people that are more likely to get fouled with how they play. So there's other ways to make up for it, is what I'm saying. There's other ways to make up for it where you don't maybe have to be at 35 or higher. So we'll keep trying to find ways. And if we can go over 35, great.
You didn't sidestep. I just wasn't prepared for you to ask the questions back.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't gone that deep into. You're challenging me in my research now. I want to find out some real.
Yeah, and I might be wrong on who was 35%. I'm pretty sure it was 20.
What was Baylor last year?
Baylor was 39.
They shot it pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay.
14-15 was 36.5.
Okay. Anything else?
Thanks, Greg.
Oh.